Hello there. I just want to speak a few minutes about the latest video by Jonathan Cahn, in which he speaks about the branch and how this relates to Messiah, i.e. because he's a Messianic Jew, he speaks about Jesus Christ. I do not refute that Jesus Christ is the King of Kings, the only begotten Son of God. What I do refute is that this Messiah Jesus will do the things that the branch is said to do in the Bible. It doesn't say that. It doesn't even say that Messiah will come from Judah. It doesn't say that. It says that he will be a son of David. He will be the morning sun. He will be the dayspring, i.e. related to David's dynasty. It also says, even in Jonathan Cahn's video, that he will build the temple. And if you read about Maimonides, who was the ultimate speaker on Judaism, you'll understand that this Messiah, he does things that Jesus never said he'll do or ever did do. And there's a long list of things he won't do, didn't do. He won't return the 10 lost tribes to Israel in the end days, which is now, coming up now in the next couple of years. And he won't rebuild the temple. And he won't die. Now, Hollywood and all the films and characters that I speak of are stating this. The Matrix. You know, there's a little faux death in these things, but like in Harry Potter, he dies and he comes back to life. But he isn't resurrected after 3 days. These things trick people into thinking it's Jesus. Let me just say that all 7 major religions, except for Christianity, which is going through a change at the moment, understanding and relearning the Jewish ways, they all say he will be either an Indian or a Persian or someone who came from Ephraim. Not Judah, Ephraim. The Book of Mormon in Doctrines and Covenants says he'll come from Ephraim. The Bible speaks about Joseph and his 2 sons, Ephraim and Manasseh. Joseph, the patriarch in Egypt, being the template for what is happening now. Everything in the story of Joseph is a metaphor for what is happening now. Right down to the fact that Joseph's 2 sons, who I believe Manasseh is USA and Ephraim is Great Britain, are taken into slavery by the Pharaoh being Antichrist and Egypt being the New World Order. This is plainly seen in Andrew Lloyd Webber's Joseph and his Technicolor Dreamcoat. You even have a Mormon playing the lead role in one of the answers. Now, Hollywood puts it in a very, very simple ways, you know, and if you just look at Netflix's The Hollow, here we have a metaphor of the Matrix again. Matrix being a biblical word which simply means womb. So in the Matrix you have a man called Adam, who's a brown skinned gentleman. He's not specifically Indian in the film, but in America they tend to have Indians as played as Latinos. So he is looking for the branch of a ironwood tree. This is what's so important to realise, is in Isaiah it speaks about a myrtle tree. And a myrtle tree is symbolic of the Messiah, the dayspring, the morning sun. Not an olive tree like Jesus Christ. And trees in the Bible represent the character of people. And sometimes, if not all times, I've not fully researched it, they even indicate the ethnicity of that particular group of people. So in the Hollow, they have to, Adam and his friends have to solve puzzles, and they have to find the branch of the Ironwood. Like I say, the Ironwood tree is an Indian Myrtle Tree. And there's all sorts of biblical things within the hollow, and it's very, very symbolic of all the things that are in the Matrix. Another film to look at is Black Mirror's Bandersnatch. Why? Because this is the only film I've seen that references the craftsmen. Who are the craftsmen? In Zechariah we read about the craftsmen, and in other verses there are four craftsmen, and we have in Judaism we have two messiahs, Ben Joseph and Ben David. They take up these two craftsmen who are also blacksmiths, and then there's the righteous priest, who is a version of Melchizedek, and then there is Elijah. So in the Matrix we have a Morpheus who is symbolic of Elijah. Now, and he points out who the Messiah is, this branch, and that's about to happen. Somewhere in the world there is Elijah. Now, here's where it gets tricky. In the Matrix there is a reference to Hermes. I think it's when Neo is going into a room, there's a definite head with a helmet and the wings of Hermes. I keep speaking about Hermes, who is also known as Pan in the Greek pantheon, and is also known as Mercury. Very, very important, because the proof is within all these films and within all the 7 major religions. In Hinduism, he's known as Kalki. In Buddhism, the epithet is Maitreyer, the last Buddha, clearly an Indian. In Judaism, like I say, it speaks about him coming through Ephraim. The Book of Mormon speaks about it coming through Ephraim. The amount of evidence that Manasseh is USA and Ephraim is well, I reference the trumpet.com and Gerald Florey. I don't subscribe to the founder of that organization being a major prophet. I don't, but I do subscribe to a lot of things that Gerald Florey talks about, i.e. the unquestionable reference to Great Britain, which also includes South Africa, Australia, and other parts of the Commonwealth, namely those countries. And this all links to how Christianity has been blinded by the amount of people that speak about the branch. In fact, I've seen and read that there are actually 4 branches in the Bible. There's God, there's Ben David, Ben Joseph, and there's Jesus. There are 3 messiahs. And it doesn't matter where you look at. You can look at it in gematria. You can find it within there. You can find it within just numbers in general. Or you can just look in the sky and see that there is a sun, which is supposed to be Jesus Christ, and there is the moon, which is symbolic of Ben David. And all of these other planets that we speak of, there are 7 major planets because there are 7 days of creation. This is what the Talmud and other books reference, is this symmetry between what God has said in the Bible and the Talmud, and within the writings of the Talmud, and within other texts, obviously the Torah. And specifically at the end, we read about the fact that Christianity has been tricked because we have wolves in sheep's clothing. Now, if you look at skywatchtv.com and Derek Gilbert and all those wonderful people there at Dr. Tom Horn, you'll see that Christianity has been overwhelmed with wolves in sheep's clothing. Pastors who go into the church and have a very narrow way of preaching about the Bible. And this goes back to the Rockefellers. Specifically one Rockefeller, I think it's David Rockefeller, who en masse bought the church and allowed thousands and thousands of pastors to go through a system of doing this, which is in the Bible. And why is it a wolf? Very, very specifically a wolf. Because a wolf is symbolic of the Benjamites. And the Benjamites are part of Judah, i.e. the Jews. The Jews are related to Judah. Because after David died, there was King Solomon, and within his reign, Israel, the country, split into two. You had the northern kingdom, which was called Israel, and the southern kingdom was called Judah. Also, the northern kingdom was known specifically as Ephraim because of the might and power of Ephraim. And this is why you have a Messiah for the Jews and a Messiah for the Gentiles. The 10 tribes of the northern kingdom were dispersed by Assyria, which is now, through Gerald Butler, has specifically mentioned, is Germany. Assyria became Germany. So, and the southern kingdom, Judah, that remained was based upon the Jews, Judah, and Benjamites. And if you look at all the central bankers that are players in the world, you'll see that they've hidden their names and they are in fact Benjamites. But the Bible's great because it rectifies this in that, saying that in the end, within the Millennial Kingdom, there will be wolves lying with lambs, i.e. the Christians will be with the people that make it to heaven, and the Millennial Kingdom will lie with their enemy, as it were. We will all be one. Now, it's very, very interesting how Hollywood has laid this all out in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of films. And specifically I speak of Harry Potter, The Matrix, 2001 Space Odyssey, but more and more you'll see this within the Marvel films. You'll see that within Legion there is a man called David Haller, I think his name is, which is specifically a reference to David and Hal within 2001 Space Odyssey. And you'll see this throughout many, many films where his name is David. Even in Hulk, it was David Banner, and you'll see that Hulk represents Ben David. It's specifically this fight that must happen, this gladiatorial fight between Ben David, the Messiah, and Apollo, who is called the Bowman, also known as the Bowman, who loses a right eye in this fight. Now, in the Bible, you don't see a reference to the Messiah losing a right hand or having his right arm damaged, but within all these contexts, within a lot of these films, if not all of them, his right arm is damaged. In Harry Potter, his right arm is damaged, and you'll see that one of the enemies in the first film, his right eye is damaged. You see this in Hulk when he fights Thor being Zeus or Satan. Then you have it within Luke Skywalker, who loses a right hand. And what Jonathan Cahn has missed is the ultimate secret that the Bible reveals. The end shall be the beginning. the end shall be the beginning. We'll go back. What does that mean? Ben David is a type of Adam. The Christians say Jesus is a type of Adam. Yes, he is a type of Adam because he's a Messiah. But Adam and Eve must return. You can see this within the Marvel films. There's always a Rey, and there's always a Kylo Ren, and the Messiah, like Kylo Ren, is a fallen Messiah in some way. And this is the ultimate secret, is that Adam and Eve must return. Superman and Lois Lane, it's throughout so many songs as well. And I'll finish by referencing Kashmir by Led Zeppelin, which speaks of a time traveller. It speaks of someone who's within that part of the world, being part of this Shangri-La, like a utopia. The Millenial Kingdom's a utopia. It's the ultimate dream where you have a co-regent king, Ben David and Jesus Christ, within Hadith, within Islamism. Within the Islamic faith, we have the Mahdi and we have Jesus. And I'd urge you to keep on looking within the Bible at how many times the Messiah is mentioned. He's mentioned as being comely, for instance, attractive, whereas we read that Jesus is not comely. He is not an attractive person. God chose his son to be an average looking man. He's meant to be an olive tree. So if we look at olives, they have different colours. I think, and I don't know what the specific olives were within Gethsemane and the Mount of Olives, but I would definitely surmise that they were black olives, because of my understanding of the amount of times the ancient Jews were labelled, and even within the carvings of Egypt they were black, which links to the Book of Mormon, where we have black Jews taken through slavery to America. And this is why Ben David must bring the 10 lost tribes back. They've been forgotten. Clearly, this is specific of the 4 craftsmen who are mentioned in Zechariah, and say within Bandashach, you'll see that just like the Matrix, this person has an ability to solve puzzles. In the Hollow, he's solving puzzles. In the Matrix, he becomes the one by having a choice between love, Trinity, who's a type of Eve, and this Matrix, and he will reject the Matrix and solve the puzzle, which is, who is the Messiah of all the 7 major religions, and how do we escape of this Matrix? In the Matrix, the person who created this Matrix is the gentleman with the white beard. Now, within Gnosticism, which isn't completely scriptural, Paul specifically says don't believe in all of Gnosticism, but it categorically states that Chronos is the creator of matter, i.e. this universe we live in, this samsara, and we escape by believing in Jesus, and by doing what all Christians and people of faith must do: believe and love and fight this system.